For some odd reason, this continues to shut off, and I've recorded several times. So if it gets cut off, we'll have to do this again some other day. Chris, step 6 is the biggest one. Now, if you listen to me, this could change the quality of your life. This is the one everyone likes best, because step 6 is about building long-term income and or long-term savings. Now, there's two elements at work here, two battles that you have to win the money game. And if you don't incorporate these, and Bill, Sue, I can be firm with you now, the chances of you becoming financially independent probably won't happen. And if it does, it's way out there. Now, there's two battles. Those two battles. Let's look at what these are. The first battle is an inflation battle, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. And the second is a tax battle, because it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And if you're not careful with taxes, they can really hurt you. So let's cover the first one. Let's talk about inflation. Have you ever heard of the rule of 72? Well, the rule of 72 says this, that whatever interest rate you're saving at, let's say 4%, and you divide that into 72, then it'll tell you how many years it takes for your money to double. And so here's an example. Let's say you have $100 and it's earning 4%, and we divide that 72, and that's 18. So it takes 18 years. So in 18 years your money doubles, and now you have $200. So what happens in another 18 years that are 4%? Exactly, it doubles again, and now you have $400. But here's the big question. In 36 years from now, will $400 buy what $100 buy today? Probably. That's inflation. That's inflation. So if people are saving, where are they saving? Bill, Sue? Yeah, they're saving in banks and credit unions and fixed accounts where they're probably not even earning 4%. You can see what's happening here. Their money is growing, yes, but inflation is growing much, much quicker. They're losing purchasing power. And at that rate, they'll never retire. And that's a big, big problem. So what's the solution? The solution is help them get at least a better interest rate. Let's say a person could get anywhere between let's say 6 to 12%. That might make a difference. Let me give you an example about that. Okay, let's say that you're 29 years old and you have $10,000 to your name. And let's say that it's earning 4%. So we divide that into 72, and that tells us that in 18 years you're going to have $20,000. And what happens in another 18 years? Again, it doubles, and so you're now going to have $40,000. 36 years later, you're 65 years old. So you have $40,000. You're 65. The house is paid. The kids are out. You want to retire, but you've got $40,000 to your name. So how long is that going to last you? At the rate that you're using money, that's not going to be very long. Maybe a year. Maybe more if you're really careful. But then what happens? You're out of money, and you have to go back to work. And you're one of those people I was talking about earlier, working in a restaurant or some department store or some place where a discount center where you don't want to be. Who wants to work after age 65? Problem here is we're out of time. The only thing we could have done different is change the interest rate. Let's say, what if we could have gotten you in a situation, where instead of earning 4%, you could have been earning 6 to 12%. Would you now be in a better financial situation? The answer is absolutely yes. Well, let's look at this chart, and let's look at what it says here. So at 4%, we know that it doubles every 18 years. Then at 65, you have $40,000. At 6%, it doubles every 12 years, and now you have $80,000. At 8%, it doubles every 9 years, and you have now $160,000. And at 12%, it doubles every 6 years, and now you have $640,000. Now, isn't that amazing? You see, The only difference between this guy and this guy is a better interest rate. Same age, same money. Not more time, not more money. The only difference is the interest rate. But it cost this guy $600,000. Now, you tell me, isn't that an important principle for you to learn? I mean, this could change the quality of your life, couldn't it? And you know what? It's not about having $10,000 all at one time. It's about putting away, saving a little bit on a monthly basis at a decent interest rate. And if you, Bill, Sue, would save for you, the time may come when instead of you being out earning your money is out earning you. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? So here's a $1 million question. Another one. What if, where can I get a decent rate of return where I have my principal protected and where I'm assured that I'm not going to lose any money? Well, glad you asked. There's actually 3 strategies where you could put your money. And I'm going to give you a summary of each one of these. And I want you to do something for me. Here's your homework. As I'm going through these, you tell me which one makes most sense to you. Which one is the one that really says, hey, you'd say, this one is what this one makes sense. Let's do this one. This is suitable for me. So as I'm showing you these, keep that in mind. So when I come back on my next appointment, I can bring back the right strategy for you. I can bring back the right plan for you and help you implement some of this. So let me just jump right in right here. The first one is called a fixed approach. And the fixed approach is just that. You have a guaranteed rate of return. And that's good, but it's a low rate. You know, approximately anywhere between 2 to 3%. And the only thing that may be risky about this is that it may be less than the rate of inflation. The second one is the mutual funds and the stocks. And that one's pretty good because you've got the other end of the spectrum. You get a great rate of return, but again, a greater risk of losing your money. And a lot of people have, because the market's been pretty unpredictable lately, hasn't it? Absolutely. And the third one is the index strategy. And the index strategy, well, your principal is protected, and your interest is also protected, and you don't lose any money. Now, the only thing about this is also that it's attached or linked to the S&P 500, which has been earning for the past 25 years 10%. Now, let me ask you this. Of these 3, which one makes most sense to you? The index strategy, no-brainer. Absolutely. You can see why this is so popular. Well, you know, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about the S&P. You heard of the S&P 500, right? Well, yeah, the S&P 500 is the 500 most highly held companies in the industry today. They represent over 100 industry groups such as technology, utilities, the healthcare, etc. There's many more. They really have about 70% of the equity market, and they represent about 70% of the American economy. And as I mentioned, for the past 25 years, they've been averaging 10%. Now, if you have put your money in the S&P 500 earning 10% for the past 25 years, wouldn't you want to have that account at this point right now? Absolutely. That totally makes total sense. Now, when we get back together on our next visit, if we determine that the index strategy is what's really best for you, most suited, I'll explain the specific about the products and the costs and the terms and conditions and the caps and the floors and all the details to it. But for now, let me just give you a kind of an overview of how the index strategy gets its crediting, interest crediting. So I'm going to give you this example, and let's use the same amount. Let's say this $10,000 you put into an index strategy, and your first year it ends 10%. It earns 10%, and that's what it's been earning for the past 25 years. So we're going to use that as an example. And now you have $11,000. And what happens in the next year? You earn another 10%, and now you have $12,100. So what if in the next year it drops 20%? And we know that's possible. It's happened, right? We've seen it happen. It's realistic. Okay. Well, you don't lose anything. It stays straight. You don't lose any money. It stays right there where it's at. And so this is what's beautiful about the index strategy. You can see why it's becoming one of the most popular and most widely used strategies for people to put their money in. Now, before we go on, um, uh, we can't win just the rate of return by just focusing on the inflation piece. We also have to win the battle by the tax battle, winning the tax battle. So I'm going to tell you a story based on this page. And Chris, I believe that's as far as you wanted me to go to the story on the tax. So let me know if you need this again.